All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we're going to now get into talking about the NFC South and what's going on with that division race. So, right now, the Buccaneers are back in it. Have now tied the Falcons. Falcons losing their third straight game. Both teams are 6-6 right now. And I think the more concerning thing is the play of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has not been good as of late. He has played poorly. He had 4 interceptions on Sunday against the Chargers. And look, he's another guy that's coming off of a major Achilles injury. I get it. But some of those throws could have been avoided. I mean, he's throwing into, triple coverage. Drake London. He's trying to hit Drake London, and there's all charges around him. That gets picked off. Also, in the end zone, he throws a pick. I mean, he's just it was like a game of jackpot where he's just throwing it up in the end zone to see who comes down with it. And of course, it was a Chargers player that came down with it. He had a pick six in this game. Chargers defensive back jumped that route. That wasn't a hard thrown pass either. That was kind of a lob, and that got picked off. It was a bad game for him and the Falcons. They just could not get anything going. And, the Chargers, they're banged up on offense. They had no J.K. Dobbins in that game on Sunday. And they definitely missed him because the Chargers really couldn't run the ball. And on top of that, they're kind of reverting back to how it was earlier in the season with, Justin Herbert in that offense. They got to get more playmakers on that side of the ball for Justin Herbert. Lad McConkey is banged up. He's playing hurt right now. He's dealing with that shoulder injury. So, yeah, but the Chargers get the win, though. They're in a good position to make the playoffs. I've been saying that for the last couple of weeks, but they're only bettering their chances now, increasing their chances of solidifying their spot for the playoffs. But the Falcons, I mean, this is not looking good. Now you got people calling for Michael Penix, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think they're still going to stick with Kirk. I would imagine. I don't know if throwing in your rookie quarterback is the best course of action right now. With you still have a chance to win the division. With everything that has gone on, with how poorly Kirk Cousins has played, they still have a chance. Now, I kind of was leaning towards, or was kind of thinking that, all right, they're going to go into the bye week after that blowout loss to Denver. They're going to figure out some things and come out better out of the bye. But, you're going up against a pretty good defense in the Chargers, and Kirk Cousins did not play well. And it's just not looking good. And if you take out his 2 games against the Buccaneers, his stats are not good. So right now he has 17 touchdowns to 13 picks, and I think the 13 picks is the most in the league now. So you take out, because he had over 500 yards passing against the Bucs. Actually, I didn't even want to check my fantasy app, but you take out the games against the Buccaneers, and they were both wins. He played well. So the first Buccaneers game, he had 4 touchdowns, and the second one he had 4 touchdowns. He had a pick in the first one. So you take out those 8 touchdown passes, and we'll take out the interception as well. He has 9 touchdowns to 12 picks. That's not good. That's not good. And you look at the last 3 games, after the 3 touchdown performance against the Cowboys, he has no touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Didn't throw one against the Saints, didn't throw one against Denver, had 1 pick each in those games, and then didn't have a touchdown pass in the game against the Chargers, but he had 4 interceptions. It's not good. It's not good. And you gave him a lot of money. I think what was it, $100 million guaranteed? So far, that's not looking like a good contract. Now, there's a possibility that they can move off of him at the end of the season and they go right to Michael Penix. Because, you know what, I do believe that there will be a team out there that would want to trade for Kirk Cousins. Because there's always teams that need quarterbacks. But I mean, what is it though? Is it the injury? Is it the system that he's in? Why is he? I mean, it could be it definitely is a combination. Because again, Drake London's had a good year. They got good running backs. Kyle Pitts. I mean, they were expecting him to have a big year, but he has not. And then your other two weapons are Darnell Mooney and Ray McLeod, which they both had good seasons, respectively. But it's a lot different than when you were in Minnesota and you had Kevin O'Connell as the head coach, and you had a good offensive line, and you had Dalvin Cook running the football for you with Justin Jefferson and Addison last year, of course, and T.J. Hawkinson, and of course, before that you had Adam Thielen there. It's definitely different. I think Kirk Cousins should have tried to stay with the Vikings, if I'm going to be honest. Now, I don't know. Again, I don't know what happened behind closed doors, but the Vikings didn't want to bring him back, I guess, and Cousins wanted a lot of money as well. So maybe it just didn't work out. But I think I would have tried to stay in Minnesota. But you want to get paid, and Kirk Cousins got paid a lot of money, but he just has not. He hasn't delivered. He hasn't delivered, and fortunately, they're still in a good spot. But you look at the remaining schedules for both teams, and right now you would lean towards the Bucs. You would lean towards the Bucs right now to win the division. They're getting healthier. Mike Evans is back. They got the Raiders this upcoming week at home, which I think they should win that. The Chargers game is going to be tough. But you also have the Cowboys, the Panthers at home, which is going to be tough, though, because the Panthers are playing like a better team, and we saw that on Sunday. And then you got the Saints at home, which could be dicey as well. The Saints did beat them at home last year. So you kind of favor the Bucs. And then as for the Falcons, you got the Vikings coming up. You got the Commanders on the schedule. In Vegas, who knows? Kirk Cousins hasn't been playing well. So he could struggle. He hasn't been great on the road this year, other than against the Bucs. You got the Giants at home, which you should beat, and you got the Panthers at home, and the Panthers have played better. So it's going to come down to. It might come down to the last week of the season for who wins this division. Now, fortunately for the Falcons, they still have the tiebreaker because they beat the Bucs twice. But if you slip up once or twice, I don't expect them to win on Sunday against the Vikings. I really don't, because Kirk Cousins again has not played well on the road, and the Vikings right now are one of the best teams. So I don't expect them to win. I mean, maybe he goes out there and plays really well against his former team, but right now the way things are going, I don't expect it. So the Bucs right now, I would lean towards them winning the division. And how about that game against the Panthers? Baker Mayfield got hurt in that game as well, but he did return. Mike Evans scored a touchdown in this game. Bucky Irving continues to run the football well for them. He had 152 yards rushing on the ground and a touchdown. The Bucs ran the ball for 236 yards. Rachaad White had 76 yards on the ground. He had that big run in overtime to set up the Chase McLaughlin game-winning field goal. Mike Evans, 8 receptions for 118 yards. Bucs defense, 1 sack of Bryce Young. Bryce Young actually played a good game. 26 of 46, 298 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Chuba Hubbard had a costly fumble in overtime. The Panthers looked like they were going to go down the field and win the game, but that ended up not happening. Because the Bucs got the ball to start overtime. McLaughlin actually missed the field goal. This was a 55-yarder. Then the Panthers are driving. Adam Thielen made some nice plays for them. He had a one-handed catch in this game. He had the touchdown that tied the game. But yeah, Chuba Hubbard then fumbled at the Bucs 34, and then the Bucs went down the field, and it was set up by first 21 yards to Mike Evans, and then another 38-yard run by Rachaad White, and that led to the Chase McLaughlin 30-yard field goal, and the Bucs got back to 500. But listen, you got to like what you see out of Bryce Young. He has definitely played better. It's just he's unfortunately been on the losing end of these last 2 games, between this game and the Chiefs game, of course, where they came back. So I do feel bad for him and the Panthers. But hey, he's been playing better, so maybe you give him another chance. And maybe you surround him with more talent. Adam Thielen, have him there. He's a good veteran presence. And like I said, was making plays for them. He had a good game. He was one of the reasons why I lost to my mom in my family league. So, I like I said, you got to like what you've seen out of Bryce Young. And, Jonathan Brooks is back, their rookie running back. And, maybe he starts to, take away some touches from Chuba, with Chuba fumbling. Chuba Hubbard, felt terrible about what happened. He was the last guy on the field. Well, not on the field, but he was, he was sitting on the sidelines. Did not leave yet. He was definitely going through it with what happened because that was a crucial point in the game, and it just ended up costing them, unfortunately. So, we'll see what happens, how the rest of the season plays out. But right now, I would lean towards saying that the Buccaneers will win the division. The way the schedules are at the moment, I think you got to lean towards the Bucs. But what do I know? Things can happen. I think the toughest game left for the Bucs on the schedule is definitely that Chargers game. But, they're going to be missing J.K. Dobbins. He got placed on IR. So, they're going to be missing him. You had Gus Edwards, Vidal, their rookie running back. That's kind of your options right now. And Hassan Haskins as well. So, that's kind of where we're at. But I like the Bucs right now. And you know what? Even with their losses and all the injuries that they've had, they still, were playing well. Baker was still playing well. And now they find themselves back in it. But, it's going to be a tight race to the end. Unfortunately, they don't play each other. The Bucs really should have won that first game that they played against them. They blew that. And had they not, they'd really be in a good position to win this division again. But, hey, they got a light schedule. You got some teams that you could definitely beat. The Falcons got the Vikings on the schedule. That's a very tough game. So we'll see how it goes. But right now, I would lean towards the Buccaneers as the favorites to win the division. But let me know what you guys think, though. I had the Falcons winning the division before the year started, but I don't feel that confident about it right now. Unless Kirk Cousins plays better. If he plays better, then, they definitely have a shot. But if he's going to keep playing like this and turning the ball over, they have no chance. And their defense isn't really that great either. So, although they did get to Herbert a bunch of times on Sunday. So, they're going to have to hope that they can get to Sam Darnold because the Cardinals, they gave Sam Darnold a tough time on Sunday. We're not going to get to that game today. I'll probably get into it tomorrow. But, they made Sam Darnold's life tough. They were able to get the win the Vikings, but, if the Falcons get that kind of pass rush against Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins can play well, maybe they have a chance to win that game. So we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think about this division. Who do you think ends up winning it? Let me know in the comments. So we're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, we will talk about Trevor Lawrence and his injury and how that all transpired in that game against the Texans and how the game kind of unfolded. So for one final time today, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.